is up, everybody? This is Malik here with the 7i Movement, here to talk to you guys on getting into a good relationship with God, a bit of my testimony, and experiences that can help you guys with your own relationship as well. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about a great topic like any other topic that I talk about, and it's basically going to be not letting negative thoughts overtake your mind, all right? And that goes in many various ways that you can think of, whether it's negative thoughts, negative actions, negative situations, not letting it overtake your life. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into this topic because this is something that can really help a lot of you guys with your everyday troubles, okay? Okay, so it's really simple. What do you want to do? Do you want to have a life where every waking moment you are around things that are negative, you're thinking about negative things, or do you want to wake up and engage in positive things? Do you want to engage in a positive lifestyle, a positive activities? Do you want to look at someone and think nothing but positive things while also acknowledging the negative side about that person? What do you want to do? How do you want to let things go? How do you want to let things run in your life? Do you want things to consist of nothing but positivity, or do you want it to always consist of negativity? You are able to control your own life in the ways that you do things, in the ways that things happen to you. You do have situations in your life where you're not able to control it, but you're not able to control exactly how it is, but that is a test. You are given certain tests in your life to determine and for you to understand where you are at in your life, because there are a lot of things that you have control of. But in order for you to really understand where you stand at in life, you have to be tested. You have to be tested in order to know this is who I am. This is where I stand at. This is my current position in life of who I am, what I'm doing, and everything else. So all of that goes back into letting negative thoughts and negative situations overtake you. If you are a person that every time something bad happens, you're the first person to pop off or ready to do this and that, or honestly even consider crying about this and that situation, then that shows signs that you really have not been building yourself to be able to become more resistant to a lot of negative situations. You need to get yourself in a place where you're able to have a lot of self-development with yourself, to where the next time negative situations come up, you're able to handle that with a lot of good understanding, better manner, and much resistance is what I would say. Even to this day, I get into situations, or situations may come across where they are unexpected or even expected that are negative. And sometimes I end up not doing the best in those situations. It's true because, one, I'm still a human, okay? But as I continue to get in those situations, or I continue to have my own self-development in my free time like this, I take the opportunity to listen, learn, understand, and respect that I was actually able to be tested. That's what I'll say. So, yeah, I take that in as an understanding to know that next time negative situations happen with me, that I don't need to let these things overcome me. When something happens to me at 3 p.m., around the afternoon time, that does not still need to be on my mind coming 8 p.m. that same day. I need to be able to let that go, understand why that situation happened, and then move on. Because sometimes we allow one negative situation to affect us and ruin our entire day. Ruin our day where we could have made a lot of positive interactions with different people here, there, and everywhere. All right? And this goes into anything and everything. We let negative situations overtake our life, our mind, and it's all up here. It's all up here. We let one thing happen to us, or someone says something to us, and it goes straight up here and it gets to us, and we done. We are done for the rest of the day because this is all we can think about is that negative situation. Well, you have to start, one, engaging in a lot of positive activities, a lot of positive engagements with different people, get around people who speak, do, and just live positivity, because the more you get around that, you'll start to see the bigger picture. The bigger picture is that we get into positive situations and negative situations, but what are you going to let overtake you? Are you going to allow the positive life to determine your everyday moves, or are you going to allow the negative life to determine how things are going to go for you? All right? It's really that simple, and it's very good to understand this, because this allows us to know that, okay, the next time something happens to us that's negative, this is not the end. This is not such a big of an issue that we're about to have a nervous breakdown. No, you're just being tested for you to understand, where am I at today? Who am I? How much have I actually been doing for myself? All right, so get into good situations. The more and more you get into good situations, well, I won't say situations, but the more and more you get into good engagements, good activities and whatnot, the more you'll be the more you'll be resistant to negative things overcoming you. All right. And very helpful, something that can really help a lot of us. And this goes, like I said, this goes into all categories of life. One important category that many may not see that it goes into is your relationship with God. Many people that I know come up to me to this day, or they don't even come up to me. We just have regular conversations per se. And if we get into any conversation about God, or me and my own discernment, understanding who they are and where they are at with God, I can definitely tell that a lot of people have negative relationships with God. Their relationship with God can be either religious, depressing, or negative. Every time something bad happens, they run to God, but they never go and talk to God for good things. They never just sit in the presence of God and actually engage with good understanding, good attention with Him. You only run to Him when something bad or depressing, or it's just traumatizing happen. Many people have negative relationships with God where it's similar to the depressing part, but it's more so. I don't know if you guys are like seeing like certain people who kind of have this method where, they're telling God to show them their enemies and do this. It's kind of like that trendy way of getting into God, where it's real selfish and it's real negative and it's all about you and money and whatnot. A lot of those are negative ways of getting into God. It's very negative. It's really more of selfish ways of getting into God. So let's just take that selfish way. Instead of the word negative, let's use selfish. You always going to God, telling Him, show me my enemies. I want money. I need this. I want to be independent. This and that. I don't like this person. Going to God for all these selfish prayers and not even realizing that they're selfish because you're so hurt and you eventually become immune to the hurt that you just want everything to go your way. You become selfish. All right. So, and another one that I say is religious. Having a religious understanding or a religious method / relationship with God can become very negative. You cannot have a relationship with God that pushes you away from people. Because I would say, what's the point of you having a relationship with God here on the earth if you're not being drawn towards people? You are not having a calling out to go near and further to people. Okay? So these type of methods and ways of relationships with God, they're very negative, and they can affect you. They can affect your thoughts, your everyday situations. And like I said, even to this day, I encounter people who have these type of methods and relationships with God, and it affects how they think, how they approach me, what they think of me, and what they think of anyone else. And sometimes, I can be honest, it's sad, but I've been through that experience. I know exactly what it's like to have, let's say, religious thoughts about God or how to view life in a religious way. And I can tell you guys something that actually happened recently. I had went to church, last week? And I went there, service was good. So after that, they have prayer before they close it out and everything. Anybody want to go up to the front, get prayed for and cool. So I take advantage of that. Just if there's anything that I need to get done, anything I have on my heart that I'm not really calling out or I can't see, I take advantage of those moments where it's time to get prayer. All right. So I went up there and I was thinking, what should I get prayed for and all that type of stuff. So I went up there and the guy who was up there, ready to pray for me, asked me, what do I want to get prayed for? So I had thought of something that I wanted to get prayed for, and I was about to tell him. And the pastor came up to me. He came up to both of us, and she said, she was like, hey, Malik, can you speak in tongues? I said, yeah, but sometimes I have doubt about it. I feel like that I'm not actually doing it the right way. She was like, okay, so the guy who was praying for me, basically, he said, okay, that's what we're going to pray for. And after that whole thing, he talked to me about it and everything, about being courageous when you pray in tongues. One thing he said that stuck out to me is that, before, I have a question for you. He said, before you started praying in tongues, did you ever have any thoughts that you couldn't speak in tongues? I said, no, just like that. He was like, exactly. When the devil, so you have to understand that the devil, he's a liar, he's a deceiver and everything below. So when you have a gift, he's going to do his best to actually lie to you, to deceive you, to make you believe that you don't have that. All right, he's not going to come to you and say that you don't have something that you don't have. But if you have it, he doesn't want you to use that. So he's going to make you believe that you don't have that gift. And I was just like, wow. So I was telling him, roots of that problem, why I was so doubtful when I was speaking tongues. And I had told him, a recent church, well, before that church, it was a church that I actually was going to at that time. And I told him, like, when I was at that church, they would say things like, one thing that they had told us is that they would say, we know if you're speaking in tongues the right way, we know people when people are speaking it wrong or right, we can tell and whatnot. And mind you, like, this was around the time where I was just understanding, orders and methods of God. So all my learnings was coming from that church. So of course that's something that I would take, and I'm not gonna lie, it made me feel doubtful in certain ways, but I still continued to like build in that, and come to find out that was very unhealthy to do so. And when I told him that, he was just like, man, he was like, that is not the way to go. So after telling him that and he was talking to me about it and talking to him about it, he also gave me this book that I want to show you all. One, he prayed for me, and then he told someone to get this book. And this book right here is called Why Tongues. Basically, why to pray in tongues. And I haven't read it yet, but I looked at it and it has like a lot of scriptures and a lot of little short stories about speaking in tongues and whatnot and why it's important. And I know it's important, but this right here can give me more of a physical confirmation of why it's important. So things like that, for example, that can fall into the religious category, and see how deep it can actually go. It was so deep that it affected me to where I didn't know that it was hindering me in a way. The fact that something happened to me and during my time where I had a religious background still was happening to that very day, or last Sunday, if you want to say. That was still affecting me. A negative situation, something that's negative. And I would definitely say, like I told the pastor when she came up to me, I did have doubts when I would go through prayer time and I would start speaking in tongues. I would feel like that I'm not doing it the right way. That's how I would feel. So even though I felt like that, I still would do it, but I had all that doubt on me. So when it helped me, it kind of actually lifted something off of me that I didn't even know I had. Sometimes when you go and get prayer or you go get help or anything when it comes to God, you have certain things lifted off you spiritually and you be like, that was there? So things like that do happen. That's why it's good. Like I said in the beginning of this video, get around people who engage in positive activities, have a positive mindset, because when you are able to get around people like that and live that lifestyle, you get a lot of things done with yourself that you didn't even know was messed up or was actually an error. Yes, we are called to be around people who need help, that we need help from, but not every waking moment you have to be around negativity. Make sure you have a certain base or people or someone that you know or that you see that has, a positive position to where they can allow you or help you to really build yourself in a good way. So I gave you guys a testimony plus just a general understanding of letting negative thoughts overtake your mind. And like I said, you see what it did to me. If some of you viewers are not familiar with speaking in tongues or whatnot, I would say that it is a very great method to where you're speaking through the Spirit to God, and it goes way more in depth than that, but I'm going to keep it real simple. If you want to learn more, I say look it up yourself or ask someone that you know is very good with their relationship with God, and they can tell you more. All right? So other than that, like I said, you guys stay lifted, stay motivated, stay positive. Don't let bad things overtake you. Don't let negative situations overtake your mind. If you have something on your mind that you are not, that is actually hindering you, but you don't want to say nothing, 10 times out of 10, you need to say something to someone or ask questions, because honestly, it might be hindering you. So that is all I have for today, you guys. If you need anything, feel free to email me or just contact me anyway through YouTube as well, and I'll be able to respond back to you guys. This is Malik Giles here with the 7th Eye, and I will catch you guys later. Adios.